फाटले काही दीस आम्ही बरेच एजिटेशन पळयता. फाटले हे म्हयने आतां खूबच जाले. तातूंत भितर असेंब्ली आमची जाली तातूंतय ते गाजले. आणि एजिटेशन म्हटलें की 3 प्रोजेक्ट्स प्रामुख्यान आमकां पळोवपाक मेळटा. दॅट इज वन डबल ट्रॅकिंग, सेकंडली एक्सपान्शन ऑफ हायवे आणि थर्ड इज ट्रान्समिशन लायन. हे 3 शब्द आमी बरेचदा आमी आयकपाक मेळटा. आयज जो आमी विशय डिकोड करता तो आसा ट्रान्समिशन लायनाचो. गोंया खातीर खरीच गरज आसा इलेक्ट्रिसिटीची अपग्रेड करपाची. आणि मोर इम्पॉर्टंटली हे जे वेगवेगळे विशय जाल्या आणि तातूंतल्यान जो कितें कन्फ्युजन जाला हेचेर मातसो चड उजवाड घालपा खातीर आयज आमी आवर्जून आमच्या मदीं आसा निनाद पितळे, प्रोजेक्ट हेड, गोवा तमनार ट्रान्समिशन प्रोजेक्ट. आतां तमनार तमनार म्हणून खूबदां आमी आयकलां. आयज आमी तांच्याच कडच्यान जाणून घेवया हो विशय कितें आसा तो. सर, वेलकम टू द शो.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. And we want to debug this entire thing. There are a lot of hue and cry, which I think you are also experiencing it. Now, I want to know is, if at all I ask a layman, what is this Tamnar project? Then what would you like to say?
So firstly, thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss about the project. So for a layman, I would say Tamnar project, the understanding should be this is basically the answer to their woes, what they are being facing for so many years, I would say. We know that electricity supply in Goa is not at that level that you get a continuous 24/7 electricity. There are definitely so many electrical woes Goa is facing. And then being Goa, the state which is rapidly also growing, and what we have seen with the projections for whatever Goa has been made by the experts, by the electrical panels, they always consistently has been, they have grown beyond the expectations in terms of power requirement. So for that purpose, that very purpose, because this study has been going for last 5 to 6 years, and in that they had worked out a solution that what can be the solution for Goa. So the solution was that there is definitely a requirement of one more 400 kV level substation in another district, that is south district of Goa. Because Goa has an existing 400 kV station in north district, that is at Kolwale for power grid, which also came up latestly last 20 years back in 2003. So one more station, and then so that will cater to the two districts will have one station each. And the most importantly is getting Goa connected with southern grid at 400 kV level. Because predominantly Goa, since Goa from formation you can say, they had been taking power and dependent on the neighboring states for the power. As Goa is producing hardly 3% of their total requirement on own production. So the dependency is on the neighboring states for getting the power. And previously the power was coming through 220 kV lines. At that moment, it was 220 kV lines, which were sufficient at years back. So the power is coming from Maharashtra, Kolhapur, as well as from Karnataka at 220 kV. So this was from the neighboring states. Only in 2003, Goa got first time connected with 400 kV grid at Kolhapur when power grid substation got set up. So that definitely helped because the 400 kV level power started coming into Goa. Again, but it started coming only up to the northmost part of the Goa, which is just entering Goa and the substation is there. So from there, again, Goa Electricity Department has to take the power at 220 kV, 110 kV level and circulate across Goa. In electrical transmission, there are challenges in terms of lengths. More and more you transfer the power, the drops will be more. So by the time, if you are at the remotest end, then definitely you will not get that kind of quality power.
Okay.
So definitely the answer is to have a higher voltage lines which will have lesser drops. And that's how that 400 kV level power comes to South Goa as well. And from South Goa, the solution, even before this planning commission was discussing on this, the solution which was proposed was having a substation in South Goa, getting it connected with southern grid.
Okay.
And also getting it connected with the northern. So there is Goa at the moment has no reliability factor because there is only one line, one source coming from north, that is from Kolhapur. And for 220 kV line which is existing, which is hardly carrying 100 megawatt right now. Even in that, out of 2 circuits, only 1 circuit is operational.
Okay.
Because that line continues to have problems and this line is maintained by Karnataka Power Transmission Limited. So Goa portion, no matter how much GE do their best efforts and maintain that portion, as long as Karnataka takes efforts into that to maintain that, this problem will not be solved. So anyway, only 100 megawatt is coming. So imagine a scenario where you have a 400 kV stopping from north Goa will not able to cater anything from south.
Okay.
So this exactly is for the people, I would say. It is answer for everybody. It is power for all.
Okay. When I try to research something on Goa Tamnar transmission project, obviously I see a lot of agitation that is there on the social media. But what it says is it will deliver an incremental 400 kVA feed to Goa and scale up the transmission network for power evacuation from generation pool at Raigarh, Chattisgarh. Now I want to understand, again as a layman, how many states are involved in this? Because obviously Goa is not generating power, so as you said, is dependent on the neighboring states.
Right. So see, in our technical terms, Goa Tamnar Transmission Projects Limited is a special purpose vehicle formed by Government of India. CEA, Central Electricity Authority, forms this. So when they form an SPV, they club certain elements that what needs to be done. It is all about strengthening the grid. This whole project is about strengthening the national grid. But in the interesting part of this GTTPL is the tagline of GTTPL, even at a government stage, is 400 kV additional feed to Goa.
Okay.
If you go to see a notification of this, it will have this wording, 400 kV additional feed to Goa. So the whole purpose of this particular GTTPL SPV was to get an additional feed to Goa. In that, they also planned one more element. So to construct one more 765 kV line in Chattisgarh. It's a small line, 70 kilometers line, Chattisgarh to Chattisgarh only. It is basically relieving the loads of the existing 765 kV line. So it's again a strengthening part.
Okay.
So I would like to clarify that nothing is linked with Tamnar. Say eventually or hypothetically.
Okay.
Hypothetically, we build that line sometime later. Still the additional feed to Goa is not going to affect.
Okay.
Because Goa particular portion is connected with Karnataka, which is the state getting involved, and balance is within Goa only.
Goa.
So if you complete this portion of the project, excluding that 765 kV element also, still Goa is going to achieve the additional feed.
Okay.
Because this project, when they envisaged, what they find is they need to ensure the connectivity of Goa with southern region and western region, so that there is a reliability.
So if I ask you if there are two districts, North Goa, South Goa, so as of now this is to strengthen the South Goa belt.
Exactly, more of a South Goa. See, because South Goa, there is a substation called Shelde. It's a 220 kV GD substation. It's very centrally located in South Goa to cater entire South Goa. But in current scenario, even the Shelde substation is fed by Ponda. The entire load of Shelde is going from Ponda. Ponda is at the heart of Goa, and Ponda is literally like, it's up to here. It's Varna ho, Shelde, everything is through Ponda. So even I understand even GD must be having big difficulty even to take even minor kind of a corrective action there, because you cannot afford to switch off that station.
Yeah.
So the idea of this particular project, what was envisaged is, when you have a 400 kV level power directly in South Goa, you take 220 kV line directly to Shelde from that substation. And that is why this project also included that. This was not left to state government. This project ensured that you construct a substation, you bring in 400 kV, and you also construct a 220 kV line to connect with Shelde. So that what happens is 400 kV level power comes from western and southern, reliability factor is there, as well as at 400 kV level power you are getting, that immediately gets connected with Shelde.
Okay.
So from Shelde, you get power across, and that you will double benefit is you are also relieving Ponda from the load.
Okay. Now, a very important question I want to ask you is, Goa it doesn't witness load shedding. Goa doesn't witness, power cuts per se. Now, when are you proposing, when the government is proposing this, I just want to understand is, does Goa require this? And if it is required, it is required to whom?
I would really, I mean, coming from the other states which I have stayed, I really appreciate and I am really happy about people of Goa that the government has taken a decision which is very, very contradictory to how other states are operating. It's not that Goa is not having shortage of power. As I said, even today, when the 400 kV line goes for a shutdown or a tripping happens, straight away 200 megawatt drops. From where Goa gets that 200 megawatt? There's a deficit created. 200 megawatt for Goa is like 30% deficit created. So as per the instructions of government, the GD has to cut down the load for industry. they straight away go for shedding of industry. You can check this with industry.
Okay.
And because there is a mandate that no power should be disconnected for domestic consumer. Whereas contrary to other states, very easily take that decision that you start disconnecting local people load and make sure the industry is supplied because revenue source is industry.
Obviously.
But Goa is not doing that. But till how long? Now you are hand to mouth. Goa currently has a capacity of bringing in 690 megawatt and your peak load has touched already 654. So as the year passes by, when the peak load will cross your what you are getting, how long GED also will be successful only cutting industry load and cutting to the people?
Okay, so as you say, is the government of the day. Obviously, over the past also has the priority has always been the domestic consumption, that is household, and industry was secondary. It should have been either way.
Yeah.
But when you also say is industry with this kind of an infrastructure coming to Goa, I think it will strengthen the industrial estates that are there. It will invite a lot of more industries to come into Goa and obviously give employment to the youth.
Definitely, it will kind of open up because right now if you say the power industry what they are getting, the power they are getting from government is definitely not consistent. You are getting these load sheddings and all those things. So a good power is a basic requirement for any industry. Now you take it. I mean, even basic school or college also you are opening. Obviously. You need a power, consistent power. You need, if your IT operations are there, which is nothing to do with anything of any emissions or anything. But even IT will require huge power because they have their servers and everything. Take a case of Goa's related kind of industry. You have fisheries. So you need cold storages.
True.
Cold storages need a consistent quality power. If you don't have that, you will not be able to maintain that. So all these things are dependent on power. And if the power improves, definitely this is going to support all that.
I think as Goa has always been known as tourism industry, you have other industries like, obviously education is one, health is something that government wanted to pursue. I think for all these things, you need power so that you can, envisage your dreams and make it into a reality, I believe. Another question is a very important one is, now this entire project is passing through Mole National Park. Now this apparently is the heart of the entire Goa. It is maybe the lungs of Goa. Obviously, I understand and I give complete respect to the concerns that all these people are raising. How do you defend yourself?
Okay, so that's we totally appreciate that the Molem National Park or Goa, the kind of biodiversity and forest cover Goa has, is really enviable. And so that was in our mind right from the beginning. That was always a concept that we should do something which will ensure that the whatever impact, because impact cannot be completely avoided, but whatever impact can be mitigated to the most. So when this route was already finalized, after so many routes discussed at the planning commission level itself, and they found this particular route to be more suitable because every route was
as it in the sense of maybe damage to the environment. What was the criteria?
So criteria was exactly So basically,
so that my viewers also understand what are the other two options that were neglected and then settled down to the final option.
Right. There is a really nice of you to ask that question because see there was definitely all the routes were discussed in our details. Okay. First conclusion was whatever routes which has to come to Goa were passing through wildlife and forest.
Okay.
More or less because it is, or rather I would generalize it to be Western Ghats. Because this area is Western Ghats, so you cannot avoid Western Ghats. So that was discussed. There were a couple of routes, I can specifically tell you, one proposal was from Power Grid. The Power Grid is a part of this committee when they discuss on Western region. Power Grid suggested that why don't you tap the Narendra Kolhapur line, okay? Again, question is, if you tap that Narendra Kolhapur line at Kolhapur end, you are still dependent on Western Grid only, okay? So because you are not, Second thing is, the biggest problem in that line was, that line is actually 765 kV line, which is charged currently at 400 kV, okay? So, it is very well clearly noted there. If you tap that line and start using it, whenever that line will start operating on 765 kV, you have to change the network here. What it means, your 400 kV station needs to be converted to 765 kV. It cannot be just done like that. You have to find a new place, build a 765 kV station, and the line also needs to be converted to 765 kV. So that is one reason. Another one option was exactly same to this. Nothing is changed. The option was go up to Narendra and enter Narendra substation. Okay. So how the lines get connected? They connect from substation to substation. But in that option, what they found was this is a double circuit line. So there is a constraint on having 2 number of bays to receive the line in the Narendra station, space constraint. So they said that cannot happen. So that's why they selected this option. We are still going up to Narendra, but not entering the substation. Rather than we are tapping a line, and that is why it is called as LILO, line in, line out, because there is a line going from Narendra substation to the Narendra 765 kV substation. We are going, and nearby the substation we are tapping that line. So that power flow happens. So 2 options. For sake of it, there are 2, but almost the route remains the same. And there were 4 options which were all talking about getting connection from Maharashtra, which already we are doing. We are already connecting, rather than bringing a direct line from Kolhapur to Shende, we are connecting Mapusa to our Sangod substation. So what happens is, from Kolhapur it comes to Mapusa, Mapusa directly it comes to Sangod also. So those 4 options, although they are 4 numbers, but they talk about the same thing, connecting Maharashtra. But furthermore, connecting Maharashtra is not going to solve your reliability concern. Your dependency on one side will not solve that. So you definitely need a southern side.
Another option.
So southern side, there were 4 options. Out of these 2 options, 3 options that we discussed, 1 we taken. The last 4th option was coming from Kaiga, which is horrible because that is going through Tiger Reserve. That line itself, when it was getting considered, it was in a huge, again opposition and all, because it goes through Tiger Reserve core area. Kaiga is bottommost. So that is why it was also avoided. So when they selected this route, it was about to go through National Park, and because there is already an existing route, if we know that lines are going to Karnataka, and that passes very much through National Park as well as through wildlife. So this is where I would say what we did. It's not about we were just saying that we were concerned. We were concerned. So what we did is we studied almost 3 to 4 routes. 3 routes we officially submitted to forest also, and the route we then found, we had to add 4.5 kilometer additional line, but we explored the Chicken Neck area, which is there is a route going where the forest wildlife is on the either side, but still there is in between there is a private area. Okay. Due to which my line length got increased, but I am happy because due to that, completely we avoided Molem National Park. My line passes bypass 0 kilometer is Molem National Park is involved.
Okay, this you can say confidently because
confidently 100% on paper. I have presented this to CC also. A Supreme Court body was here, given presentation to them and given them in the written documents. Because there is nothing, if you see the map, you will also realize that. Because we all the way explore, we go up the Mole, we go up to Surla, and then we. So that is why we, how the wildlife also comes, 6 towers comes. There are 2 towers, we are just hardly brushing with the boundary of National Park. Okay. But technically it is inside National Park, so it is counted in. And if you see those locations, even CEC saw that location, those locations there are no trees at all. They are barren. Even if today, if you say you have to do a foundation, you don't need to cut a tree there. But they are part of National Park, so they are counted in that. And then the last end, where you have to enter Karnataka, you have no exit left. You have to enter a wildlife. There a 2 kilometer portion is getting covered, and that is also a cliff. And it's a straight line. So we are not occupied too much, and also we have taken it on the hills so that we get a good elevation.
Okay, another important thing is, since we are talking about the national park, is there are a lot of allegations made against you that you have not carried out environmental impact assessment. Was it not required to do so?
See, transmission line projects, the kind of the EIA notification that projects require prior this thing, they have a couple of categories, category A and category B, and accordingly the rules are defined for them, at what stage and what level. So if you go through all the EIA documentation, transmission line projects, linear projects of transmission line does not come under any of those categories. And there is a good enough reason for that. Because why EIA is required? It is basically doing your environmental impact. Transmission line neither has any emissions or any hazardous substances being emitted, nothing. So they are just a bare conductor, which towers, structures which are there, and current passes
on the ground, and your lines are on
exactly, and on the top. So there is no impact, no environmental impact, no environmental hazards for transmission line. As transmission line are completely exempted from requirement of any kind of EI. Now, unfortunately, there are other two projects along with this, and so it is like seen with the same lens. EI, where is EI?
Definitely, we'll speak about them also in details because I mentioned, I think there are 3 projects that are making headlines every single day for the last couple of months. Also, is when it comes to BI or Biodiversity Management Plan report, state in terms of impact, what are the mitigation measures that you're taking in terms of this entity is taking?
Sure, but I will first like to give a little additional on this. That's the biodiversity impact assessment. If you go by the clause strictly, the forest recommends to get it done only if the diversion is more than 50 hectares. There is a provision on the Parivesh website where if you put your request that you are adding 50 hectares, more than 50, then it will ask you for submitting a BI BMP.
Okay.
Ours is only 11 hectares. Yet we choose ourselves to do the biodiversity impact assessment exactly because the reason what you stated in the start of this, that this is very crucial and very important to Goa. We know that we are passing through a wildlife. It is a high biodiversity area, so let's do that. And we did that, and it is very much available to public. We have already posted it on our website. So there is, and the same copy was given to forest also. We could not load it because there is no provision. But we had handed over the copy. And that particular committee, biodiversity experts, their statement, I quote, that transmission line does not bifurcate forest into 2 parts. It goes all and all above because the spans are more than 400 meters. So that is one thing. However, they mentioned that there will be moderate impacts. The impacts will be limited to limited area where the tower foundation will come. The impact will be while accessing those tower foundations to go to that area.
This is while construction or
while construction, because you have to go to that particular location. So that will be the impact, and the impact will be while pulling the wires, what we call as stringing. So, and they suggested certain other measures like for birds, migratory birds, we can install what you call as bird diverters. There are small equipments which we install on the lines at a equal spacing. That emits a light so that a bird, if it is flying at the level of a conductor, it can, from very far, it can spot there is something, so it can deflect its path. That is one thing, and then having some artificial nesting platforms, those kind of things they were suggested. And
which have been incorporated.
Which have been very much incorporated in our plan. We are already doing it at other places also. And from the inputs what we got from biodiversity assessment, the mitigation measures what we mainly took is, we want to restrict it to the particular location only. So the risk of having a damage of access, so we are confirming to it that we are not going to take any machinery beyond a motorable road point. So those all the materials, because these are small foundations.
So even if you are in the outskirts of the national park or the forest, you are not taking the vehicles physically there. Wherever there is
no vehicles, no excavation equipment.
So there is no felling of trees.
For accessing,
for access.
Exactly. So we will not damage rather while accessing. Only people will carry the materials on head load, what we call as. So either people can go head loading. So we reach there and do the foundation by manual excavation, do the foundation. Even the tower comes in the disassembled part. This, as you see these lattice structures, they are coming as members. So those members are taken and they are assembled at site. And similarly, conductor bits are also cut and taken to the side. So there is, these particular mitigation measures allows us to reduce the impact on the access.
Okay.
Then comes the stringing portion. So stringing, we are also adopting latest technologies, that is kind of drone stringing. So which will help us to reduce drastically any damages that happens while putting out the conductor. Because the drone goes, it takes the pilot wire, and then with that help we can pull the string. So that these mitigation measures are taken so that whatever the impacts what were suggested by BI, BMP, they can be further reduced to a drastic extent.
Okay, now very, very important question is, there is this photograph that is going viral, that is everywhere here in Goa. There are a lot of vloggers who usually do on social issues. They have taken that particular photograph, and a lot of, I wouldn't say hue and cry, I respect their concern, but that photograph speaks huge. Now I want to understand, is this photograph related to your project? especially the transmission line, Goa Tamnar project?
I'm not sure which, if you are specifically talking about a photograph of a substation land, because that
So
is
this is
one.
in the forest. It has been cut, and
Exactly. So thing is, it is very easy to just equate something or take inferences from something without going into details. Goa as such is full of forests. There are private forests also, and there are forests. So this particular land, Sangod, it is very much the village is nearby. And when we selected this land, this is basically the selection happened as a private land because it was a private land. We have a proper sale deed for that, and we had plotted almost all the owners. So all the owners were tracked, and with them the sale deed is done. So this is a private land. Even before sale deed also we had confirmed, and even now the status remains the same, that there was some committee formed in Goa to declare private forest. So this was not part of that. Now definitely, so because it was not a private forest and it's a private land, so we acquired that land. That is a personal private property of the company now. And as we want to develop a substation as a government important project, so substation needs to be, so we applied it for a permission to cut the trees because we need to go further with the. So we applied for the permission under the PTA Act, being a private land, and after 6-7 months down the line, after all the due diligence, we got the permission under the PTA. And then after proper information to the department that we are now taking up the cutting, we started the cutting works. Okay. And I would like to put it on record that these cutting works happened well before the lockdown. So it is also being, unfortunately, COVID started and everything started got related to lockdown, that because everybody was at home. So this was well before the lockdown, the tree cutting was completed. And that cutting, so this particular area is neither a forest, neither a private forest. However, it is easily getting linked with the line. So there is no work we have started in any of the transmission line in forest area.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Very important thing is when you are managing a project in especially such kind of challenges where you have to deal with Western Ghats, you have the animals there, you have flora there. A lot of challenges happening. You have also encountered some of the challenges as in your company when doing projects across the globe, especially here in India. When I speak, obviously you have a project in Jammu and Kashmir, you have a project in Kerala, you have also a project in Arunachal Pradesh.
Correct.
So, how do you cope up to such kind of challenges where you have to balance environment and also cater to the future aspirations of people?
Certainly. So see, innovation is core at our company. So this is, and innovation is required for what? It's not just to make your business moving faster, but innovation is required also to see to it that you deliver something with minimum impact. So that is also a gain, and also do it in a better way and in a quality way. So if you talk about Kashmir, we have first time in India, you can see we have done the entire tower erection and shifting using a helicrane. Yeah. Because the towers were located at the cliff, sub-zero temperatures on this thing. So a special crew worked on that, and so those kind of technologies we already have adopted. Then I spoke about just some time ago drone technology. Similarly, that also we bought in, and we have been consistently using that drone technology. So we have our own drones, we have a team. So we use the stringing drones for the stringing purpose. So these particular technological advances and the commitment of team to find out solutions definitely helps us, to cater this particular. Like even recently, we had done a helicopter operation in Arunachal. Arunachal is entire forest patch, 18-kilometer complete forest patch, and it is not just forest, but the towers are all on the mountains at a height of say 1,000 meters kind of thing. So it is like climbing that, and it's entire forest covered mountain. So we used helicopter and we had dropped the material right at the location, and there the foundation took place. Like I said, so there also all manual, excavation manual, everything manual, and the material is taken to the site with the help of the helicopter, and then the foundation work is happening. Tower material is taken to the site with the help of the helicopter, and then the tower erection has happened there. So this is the way technology is being utilized to make the benefit.
Okay, coming to the last point is there is kind of acceptance here also in public, and also which I saw at the assembly also in the last week. Acceptance for the transmission line, acceptance for the aspirations of the future. Now, is it somewhere related to the double tracking of railway lines, or all these three issues are taken at such heights for whatever maybe it is a political gain or any kind of a social gain, I don't know, but is it clubbed and maybe we are staying away from the actual thing that we should be getting, that is Goa Tamnar transmission line?
I can confidently say one thing, that when this project was designed, there was neither a thought of railway or highway. Because as I spoke sometime earlier, the whole reason for this project, you had a railway or you don't have a railway, you stop operating railway or you stop going to Karnataka by that road, you will still require power. So the power project was designed with the requirement of the people of Goa, for the power requirement of Goa. Coming to railway, right now also in some of the presentation, even GD confirmed there is a request for 6 megawatt load for some railway, some station is coming up. Now you see 6 megawatt is hardly 1% of the total capacity what Goa is requiring now. This project comes or doesn't come. It's a government requirement and GD can very well cater to that, even without this project. There is no linkage with a railway requiring a 400 kV line. So this has absolutely no connection, because this power is coming at a 400 kV level. Now 400 kV level power will be utilized by everybody. So even if this project is not there, still that 6 megawatt can be catered by GD. So there is no linkages. I mean, there is nothing to do with power. And same for the highway. Highway, you cannot link electricity required for a highway, right? So this electricity, this is only unfortunate that because the projects get dragged, and I guess the railway project has got really dragged a lot. It came up long ago, somewhere, if I'm not wrong, my figures are not, 2011, when Mamata Banerjee's government, she was railway minister. That time this particular project was passed. And I understand that is in very, very much phases. So other phases also got completed or at certain stage. This got stuck, and this eventually happened to come all together and coincide with the same point. And that exactly has so we started coming in the same breath. When we talk railway, we talk about power transmission line, only because they went up for an approval at the same stage. Because eventually, geographically, Goa and Karnataka, that's the only area where you connect. So that's how it is.
Okay, Ninadji, thank you very much for joining us. I just wanted to decode the Goa Tamnar transmission project and the kind of agitation that we are seeing. So it was pleasure having you. I hope you've been able to decode. If you have any other questions apart from this that we've asked, please text us. We will definitely try to get Ninadji again and ask him on all the queries that you have.
So thank you very much. It was pleasure being here and able to answer your questions. And we are always here to clarify whatever doubts there will be in the people's mind on the power projects. We will be happy to clear that.
It was pleasure, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.